every single voice actor I know, almost every single one, has like cats. Why on earth would we have cats? Like, pretty much everything that we own, they would just want to destroy. Dogs are way more quiet. Dog will sit on my feet. Cat, it was in here for like a minute and just wanted to destroy this thing. I don't know. I don't get it. Why cats? They suck. All right, before we get into the topic of this video, just want to let you all know, for those who don't know, as a little reminder, that I have partnered up with Closing Credits and am now one of the teachers, coaches, I believe, of casting Closing Credits, which is connected to castingcall.club. And so starting November 9th to November 30th, it is going to be one class a week that I will be teaching on character voice acting and thinking outside the box. It is going to be a live class, Zoom meeting thing, and there are still tons of seats. Link to it will be in the description. It'll be one class a month, or one class a week for that month, and they'll be repeating. There'll be more of these. So if you're watching this video after that point, and it's too late to sign up, there will be more, I promise you. So, letting y'all know, link is in the description, and on to the video. Alrighty, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, I actually wanted to talk about something that I wasn't sure if I'm allowed to talk about, and I had to do a bunch of digging through some old emails, and I think it's fine that I talk about, especially now that it has kind of come up, and kind of like, or at least not come up, but it is, the decision has been made, clearly. So today I wanted to talk about voice matching. I've kind of hinted at it before, kind of covered it and the difference between it and just doing impressions. And I kind of wanted to talk about why it is, one of the hardest things to do in the voiceover world, unless you already have like a natural gift, or you already have been working on that voice or that part of your register for a very, very long time. It's very, very hard to get into voice matching. I haven't done that much voice matching in the past. Most of the time when I've done any voice matching, it's been on projects that I was also an actor on, and some of the other actors like weren't available for whatever reason, and since I had already been around them and been exposed to them for months, I was basically able to voice match them for a couple lines that they weren't able to do. And then not that long ago, and I've had a couple other voice matching opportunities. I got to do a little bit of voice matching for Gilbert Godfrey for a company project that he was working on. It wasn't something that was public. It was kind of e-learning, corporate, informational, kind of like education within the company kind of thing. And they had hired Gilbert Godfrey to do all their kind of like narration and kind of like their information, their kind of learning criteria, or learning. There's another word for it. Oh, they're learning videos. They're kind of like in-purpose, in-house use videos. And he passed away, and they had a little bit of dialogue left, or some things that they had changed or had developed since then, or things they wanted to add. And since he had passed, he wasn't able to record it, and they found me, and they wanted me to try to match him as close as possible and try to seamlessly mix my, not impression of him, but my match of him as closely as possible. Try to match him as close as possible. And that was a lot of fun. That was really, really good. Again, It's not anything that anyone would ever be able to see, and it wasn't a lot of lines. It was just a few things. I think it was like mostly like numbers, and I think it was like a warehouse kind of thing, and they're just talking about like numbers and weight and all that kind of stuff. It was like a safety video, I think. For the most part, I didn't get the whole script. I was mostly just kind of trying to sandwich altered lines within pre-recorded stuff. So it's not really something that I can really showcase. It's not really something that I can give to anybody, but it was something that was a lot of fun, and it was something that was extremely stressful and extremely technical, but they were happy with what I did. And today I actually wanted to talk about something that is out in the public that people can talk about that I did not do, but I did get to audition for, and that was for the new voices of Rick and Morty. And I got to audition for those. And I'd never really done a Rick and Morty. I'd never really taken a Rick and Morty voice seriously. And I had asked one of my LA agent if they knew anything about that. And this was like 4 months before I had actually gotten the audition. They were like, I haven't heard anything as of yet, but we will keep you posted. And then when Adult Swim was finally ready to try to get somebody to replace Roland. Apologies if I forget his name, but the original voice of Rick and Morty. And again, I'm not going to be talking about whether or not it is a good idea for them to have replaced Rick and Morty. I'm not going to be talking about the controversy around it. I'm not going to be talking about, my opinions on that. That's not what this channel is for. This is not gossip. And as far as whether or not it was personally, I think when one of the creators of the show is no longer available for whatever reason, and you had a season conclusion, for the most part, unless the person passed away, I think the show should just be done. If they were one of the main reasons that the show was popular, they were, a huge influence in the writing and the creation of concepts and the jokes, and they were, working hand in hand with the producers and the directors, and, they weren't just a hired voice, and they were a huge part of it, and they did most of the voices. For the most part, I kind of feel like you should just cancel the show. That's my opinion. But the studio owned the rights, and so they wanted to find new voices. And it was very, very specific that they were not looking for impressions. They were looking for perfect voice matching. Now, you can find the trailer for the latest season, and you can hear a little bit of Rick and Morty, and you can hear, at least I can tell, that it is a different person. But their voice match of the original characters is really, really good. Now, obviously, because they had to replace, I think they had already started with the writing and the animation. I think they had gotten a good ways into the voice acting before they decided to boot the original voice actor. So I feel like getting a new Rick and Morty was kind of a scramble last minute kind of thing. And so in the trailer, you don't hear that much of Rick and Morty. You hear a lot more of the other characters, because I think when they were putting together the trailer and they were kind of finalizing some stuff that they could use for promotion and launch, they didn't have that much of the new Rick and Morty to actually put in. So they kind of also I think they were kind of pulling it back a little bit. So they weren't just putting, all the new voice of Rick and Morty up front and center, because then it would be a little bit more obvious that this is a new person. So they kind of just sprinkling it in. Or at least those are my ideas. It's one of those two. It's either they're being hesitant, or it was kind of a time crunch and they're like, okay, well, these scenes we have done, we'll throw those in. Either way, you can hear a little bit of it in there. You can hear a little bit of the new person. I don't know who it is. I tried looking it up. I couldn't find the name. I know a bunch of different voice actors who actually auditioned. I know a bunch of different voice actors who did way better job than me. I may post my Rick I'm not going to post my Morty. My Morty was terrible. My Morty was garbage. It was not even close. I may post a sample of my Rick just for fun. I was not surprised that I didn't get it, but the point of voice matching is not doing an impression. I've said this many, many times. The point of doing a voice match is to try to get as close as you possibly can. The thing about an impression is every impression is different because you're putting your interpretation of something up in front. Your interpretation of a character, your interpretation of a celebrity, and kind of putting your own spin, your own flair. And it has enough of the original or enough of an homage to the original voice that everyone knows who it is, like my Christopher Walken or my Gilbert Gottfried. My Gilbert Gottfried and my Christopher Walken are probably the closest to sounding like the actual celebrities. But then obviously my Donald Trump is over the top. My, a lot of impressions that I do are over the top and they're meant to be more comical. You can tell who they're supposed to be, but they're not a voice match. Do I think that I could do a voice match of Donald Trump? Probably not. Do I think that I could do a voice match of Joe Biden or, any of the other political figures? Probably not. It's very, very few that I feel confident that I'd actually be able to do that. You have to have full control of your range within that voice. That's the key. You can't just, when you see a lot of impressions and you see a lot of people's, they're essentially cheat voices. They can basically either only say a select few quotes that they can get down, but they can only say these quotes, or they can only do a portion of that particular character or celebrity's range. So, for example, Gilbert Gottfried. A lot of people can do Gilbert Gottfried just screaming, but they can never do the quiet or the more, reserved Gilbert Gottfried and still sound like Gilbert Gottfried. That's not necessarily a cheat voice, but that's an impression. A cheat voice is when you can pretty much only just say one small section within one area of the range. Yes, it is not your voice, and yes, it does sound like that person, but you're limited. You're very, very limited. This is cheating. You're not able to actually do that entire voice. You need to be able to do their quiet parts. You need to be able to do the louder stuff. You need to be able to do the faster stuff, the slower stuff. You need full range of their register. You need full range of what they can do. Not what you can do, what they can do. So it's almost like, when it comes to like voice matching, it's almost like having another box. It's like basically, okay, now my voice is not going to be my voice anymore. It's going to be over here. And all the range that I have with my natural voice, I now have to have all of that range over here with this person or this character's voice. I have to be able to scream. I have to be able to whisper. I have to talk fast. I have to be able to talk slow. I have to do every single emotion. I have to say every single syllable, every single noun, vowel, the way their S's, their T's, all of it. And none of it can sound like me. I need to get as close as possible. That's voice matching. And just because you're good at an impression does not mean that you're great at voice matching, which is one of the reasons that I haven't really put too much out there in the direction of voice matching. There's been a few auditions that I've gotten in the past. There's been some anime auditions. There's been some video games where there were some people that, passed away. There was some people that weren't available anymore, or some people that, there was a falling out with the company that people have brought me in to try to match them. I've done a little bit of that, but it's never something that I'm truly, truly confident in. Just because every single time, every single project, every single voice to match is a completely different thing. It's not like having a skill that you can apply to everything. It's almost like having to start from scratch every single time. And the process for me, talking about the Rick and Morty, when that was presented to me, was obviously first thing was to go and find all the footage that I could. Now, doing a normal audition, I do that, within a day. I do that night or whatever. Voice matching, I take almost the maximum amount of time that I possibly can before the audition has to be sent in. And I gather as much footage of the celebrity or of the cartoon character as possible. I shut everything else off and I just watch those. Fortunately, it was Rick and Morty, and so I basically just had to watch episodes or watch highlights and get a full range. And then I watch all of it from scratch without trying to match it, without trying to talk along with it, or without trying to do my impression. So I get the full, I just absorb it. I'm just in absorb mode. And then after that, maybe take a little break, come back, and then go over basically the exact same stuff again and try to go along with it, pausing every so often. Going over a line, pause, try to do it, rewind, go over that line again, try to do it, go it over and over and over again, try to go along with it and try to match all the ups and downs. And when I feel relatively confident with that line or that section, I'll move on to another one. And it's essentially what basically AI does. It just kind of like goes over and over and over things and just tries to match it as close as possible and then tries to recreate it. That's essentially, it's artificial intelligence is just trying to copy us. That's what we've been doing for years. It's not special. But that's what I do over and over and over and over again. And I try to get it as close as possible. And then when I'm as confident as I possibly can, then I will do an audition. And the audition was a full 10-minute scene of Rick and Morty, of both Rick and Morty talking to each other. And it had a full range of ups and downs with their emotions. It had happy, it had angry, it had sad, it had scared. It was a wild scene. And I had to try to match it as close as possible. And I recorded that multiple times. And by multiple times, I mean, I think I recorded that 8 times minimum and deleted, recorded the whole thing, listened back to the original footage, listened back to mine, deleted it, started over again. Listen back to it, listen back to the original, listen to mine, deleted it, started over again. And I kept making notes as to, okay, I need to go up more here, I need to go down more here. Okay, here there's a little bit more vocal fry, here there's a little bit more whininess, here it's kind of stretched out, there's this is how the character breathes. It's crazy how much research and how much practice you have to do in order to get close to it. And I got as close as I possibly could. I don't think, because there was no NDA on this, but I probably won't post my audition for that publicly. It'll probably be on the members page. I'll probably post it there. I don't know yet. I'll probably need a little bit of time to think about it, but I'll post it on some level, just so y'all can see the end result of, I think, about 3 or 4 days of trying to get it as close as possible and kind of the idea of like what it sounds like. And again, I very much applaud whoever it is that actually got the audition. I don't know, as of the recording of this, there's a good chance that I found out who it is after recording this video. But hats off to them. They did amazing. I can tell, but I'm also, incredibly sensitive and, alert to these kinds of things. So I don't really count. I think the majority of people are going to be totally fine, are going to be, absolutely delighted and happy. I think the season is going to be fine. It looks like the humor is on par with the show. I mean, the writing's the same, director's the same, all this kind of stuff. And it's not the first time that a voice actor has had to take up for another voice actor. It's not the first time that someone has passed away or someone has been fired. I mean, Vic Mignogna, Johnny Bosch, I believe, Vic Mignogna did Broly, and now Johnny Bosch does Broly. I hope I'm saying both their names right. And then there's been the guy who was doing Frieza for Dragon Ball Super, and then he passed away, and then there was a guy who was basically kind of doing stand-ins for him that now ended up getting the role. I don't remember his name. I'm very much sorry for anybody that I forget their names on. But it's happened a lot. It actually has happened a lot, and it's something that, is a lot more common than we think it is. And, it's just part of the business. It's very technical. I believe it is the most technical part of voice acting. I believe it is the most stressful part of voice acting. And it's kind of where you shut everything about you off and really hone in on the character or the person that you're trying to match. You shut all of your, I would do it this way, or I think it should have been said this way. Forget all of that. You're not in charge anymore. That person is. You have to be that person. And that's kind of, I really feel like that sums it up. Maybe I'll do another video if for some reason I get another opportunity, or maybe there's like I don't know, maybe there's like a video that of someone that I know that I can voice match. Maybe I'll do a video on that later on. But for right now, that's going to be it. So thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Totally fine. Subscribe if you do. Bell for notifications. And leave down the comment section below. Like to see me cover any other videos, any other topics, answer any questions. Totally fine. And don't forget that my email is in the description. So if you need any coaching, demo production, what have you, contact me there. And yeah, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.